Welcome to northern Peru. This is part one of a three-part series that focuses on the avian wildlife of this region. But we will also present and discuss some of the other wildlife that occurs incidental to the bird species, which will always be our main focus in these presentations. Indeed, northern Peru contains an astonishing variety of bird habitats spanning from the Pacific coast, across the Andes Mountains, and into the Amazon basin. This dramatic altitudinal gradient creates highly distinct ecological zones that support a massive diversity of endemic and migratory species. We begin our adventure in the Huallaga River, located in central and northern Peru. It rises in the Andes Mountains just south of Cerro de Pasco and descends northeastward past Huánuco and Tingo Maria. Note that further downstream, the Huallaga River emerges into the Amazon River basin to join the Marañón River. This map shows the east to west route that we will be taking from Tarapoto to Chiclayo. Were we to be driving this route directly, it would take about 14 hours to go from Tarapoto to Chiclayo. But we'll be taking our time, 20 days to be exact. This will enable us to take side routes and visit areas where unique bird species occur. This map shows some 12 different areas that we'll be visiting. Various lodges catering to the interests of birders and other wildlife enthusiasts have been established in these 12 areas, as well as many other areas within this region. Well, the first species that we'll see is a crake, and it requires that we cross the Huallaga River. And conveniently enough, there is a ferry boat that can help us to do this. Now, it must be pointed out that this ferry boat serves far more functions than simply getting birders across the Huallaga River. But it does come in very handy for birding enthusiasts who wish to cross the river. Here we see the russet-crowned crake. Two subspecies of this bird exist. One of them occurs exclusively in Colombia. However, the subspecies seen here, Ruforellus viridis, occurs from East Colombia, south through Venezuela, through the Guianas and Amazonian Brazil to eastern Peru and northern Bolivia. It is about 6.3 to 7.1 inches long, that is 16 to 18 centimeters. The sexes are alike. Adults have a black bill, red legs, gray face, and russet crown. The russet-crowned crake mostly inhabits terrestrial landscapes. In contrast to many other species in the crake family, it is usually not found in marshes. It is found in second-growth sapling thickets, grassy or brushy pastures, overgrown wastelands and roadsides, and gardens at the edges of small communities. Its diet includes insects and grass seeds. The russet-crowned crake's breeding season extends from January to June. It makes a ball-shaped nest with a side entrance from dead grass. The clutch size is 1 to 3 eggs, but little is known about its breeding biology. This widely occurring species is listed by the IUCN as least concern. Also occurring within the Tarapoto region is the black-fronted nunbird. This is one of 4 nunbirds in the genus Monassa. All 4 species are large black puff birds with pale bills best identified by the presence and location of white in their plumage and the color of their bills. The black-fronted is the only nun-bird with all dark plumage and an orange bill. This species occurs in groups that perch conspicuously and regularly erupt into noisy choruses of whistles and chirrs. It forages mostly for arthropods at lower elevations in open floodplain forest, floodplain forest edge, bamboo, and riverine secondary growth. Like most puff birds, the black-fronted nun-bird nests in a burrow in a bank or in the ground. The white-fronted nun-bird is a fairly uncommon resident in the mid-story and subcanopy of terre firme forest. The closely related black-fronted nun-bird lacks the white face. Although the white-fronted nun-bird's song is similar to that of the black-fronted, it is generally faster and higher. This species also tends to be less vocal overall. It is often encountered in pairs or in small family groups. The white-fronted nun-birds are frequently found in mixed passerine flocks. The blue-black grassquit is a tiny acrobat that puts on a show along fence rows from Mexico to northern Argentina. Iridescent blue males pop straight up from song perches, reveal hidden white wing patches, nod their heads in midair, and then give a short, buzzy song just before returning to their perch. Bluish males and streaky brown females are common in weedy fields and open habitats. The blue-crowned trogon is fairly uncommon throughout its large range. It occurs in lowland humid forest, particularly in Barcea. Barcea being flooded forest, and it seems to prefer edges and secondary growth. Like other trogons, it forages on small arthropods and fruit, often perching motionlessly for long periods of time. Male blue-crowned trogons, such as the individual seen here, characteristically have a blue head and breast, whereas females are gray throughout their head, breast, and back. The blue-crowned trogon's diet includes a variety of arthropods, including insects and spiders. It also feeds upon fruits. The masked crimson tanager is a medium-sized bird with a bright red body and a black mask covering its face and throat. It has a long pointed bill and black wings with white patches. The masked crimson tanager is a social bird that is often seen in small groups foraging for fruits and insects in the canopy of trees. The breeding behavior of the masked crimson tanager is not well documented, but it is believed to build cup-shaped nests in the canopy of trees where it lays a clutch of eggs. The paradise tanager has been described as the quintessential multicolored neotropical bird. This spectacular tanager delights visiting birders throughout much of the Amazon basin, where it forages in the canopy of lowland evergreen forests and forest edge. There are 4 recognized subspecies of paradise tanager, which differ in the color of the rump. The subspecies seen here is the only subspecies of paradise flycatcher in the Peru area, Tangara chilensis chlorocoris. Paradise tanagers glean fruits and insects in the upper canopy of trees and tend to nest in the outer edge of the tree canopy. Paradise tanagers often are seen in multi-species flocks of 5 to 20 individuals and rarely stay in the same spot for an extended period of time when feeding. The opal-crowned tanager is restricted to western Amazonia, where it ranges from the lowlands to at least 1,000 meters or about 3,400 feet in the foothills of the Andes. Its biology is relatively poorly known, principally on account of this being a canopy-dwelling species. This tanager usually travels in small flocks and regularly joins roaming mixed species flocks and attends feeding frenzies at fruiting trees. There is wide geographical overlap with the similar but much more widespread opal-rumped tanager. But opal-crowned tanager has a broad straw-colored supercilium and lacks any rufous coloration on the underparts. The blue-gray tanager is one of the most widespread and ubiquitous birds of the humid lowland New World neotropics. At almost any location between southeastern Mexico and central South America, it is a familiar presence at the forest edge, in second growth, along roads and rivers, in plantations, and even in urban parks and gardens. Blue-gray tanagers prefer semi-open habitats. They are not found in interior of closed canopy forest, but they can quickly colonize fresh clearings. They are flexible as well in their diet, eating a variety of fruit and also foraging on arthropods. Blue-gray tanagers typically travel in pairs or small single-species flocks. They may briefly join mixed-species flocks, but do not travel with such flocks. The palm tanager is one of the most widespread and familiar birds of humid lowland forests of the New World neotropics. They occur from Nicaragua south to southern Brazil. Palm tanagers are common at forest borders, but also occur in the canopy of the interior of forests. As the name suggests, palm tanagers often are associated with palm trees. But they are certainly not restricted to living in such trees. The magpie tanager is a long-tailed black and white tanager with striking yellow irises. The magpie tanager is widely distributed across much of lowland South America, entirely east of the Andes. The sole member of the genus Sisyphus, its size and plumage and behavior are all somewhat jay-like. The entire hood down to the upper breast is glossy black, while the wings and tail are largely black with white fringes to the coverts and tertials, and white tips to the retroces. The chestnut-eared aracari is a medium-sized toucan of the Amazon basin of South America, especially the southern and western parts of the basin. It can be very common in its range and has the widest distribution of any of the aracaris. Chestnut-eared aracari is primarily frugivorous, but feeds also on invertebrates. The lettered aracari is another toucan species. It inhabits primary lowland forest, including seasonally flooded areas and riverine forest within the Cerrado region. It has been recorded to at least 1,200 meters, or about 4,000 feet, in the foothills of the Andes, but chiefly is found some distance below this elevation. The lettered aracari forages mostly in the canopy, but will descend to near the ground when following army ants. Small groups, which might be extended families, often forage together. Its diet is mostly fruit, but apparently also takes small arthropods. It also predates other species' nests for eggs and young. The yellow-rumped cacique is a widely distributed icterid and is a common sight throughout lowland evergreen forests from Panama and Trinidad south to Peru, Bolivia, and central Brazil. This species primarily forages in the canopy, along forest borders, such as along rivers, lakes, or other open areas such as fields. The diet is omnivorous. The cacique largely feeds on insects and other arthropods, but also consumes some fruit and nectar. The three-striped poison arrow frog is a gorgeous little creature, quite common in lowland to mid-elevation rainforests of northern South America. As implied by their common name, these frogs are quite toxic, and their skin contains some very poisonous compounds known as pumiliotoxins. These compounds can cause seizures and local paralysis in humans. This particular species, however, is not nearly as dangerous as some other members of its family, the Dendrobatidae. The Uscian is a neotropical bird that lives along slow-moving rivers and lakes in the Amazon basin. With a distinct appearance, loud calls, a tendency to live in social groups, and a clumsy way of moving through foliage, it's not surprising that Uscians are fairly easy to find in their habitat. Uscians are ruminators. Like cows, goats, and sheep, Uscians digest their food with the help of bacterial fermentation. Those ruminating mammals have specialized sacs in their gut called a rumen, whereas Uscians have an enlarged esophagus and crop. The Uscian is the only bird in the world that uses these four gut compartments instead of a stomach to digest food. Its diet consists almost entirely of leaves, which pass into the bird's crop, where the process of bacterial fermentation begins. Dubbed by one author as the harlequins of the forest canopy, the colorful and noisy yellow-tufted woodpecker is common and conspicuous throughout the Amazon region of eastern South America. Highly social, these woodpeckers are seen most often in groups of 3 to 8 individuals. They make their presence known with frequent vocalizations and often perch out in the open. The yellow-tufted woodpecker is a small, mostly black woodpecker with a white rump and an elaborate yellow facial tuft that extends from a yellow eye ring. It also has a red belly. Its diet is omnivorous, consisting principally of insects, some of which are caught on the wing, and fruits. The short-billed honeycreeper is restricted to central and western Amazonia, extending north into southern Venezuela. To the untrained eye, both sexes could easily be mistaken for the much more widespread and familiar purple honeycreeper. However, males have a noticeably shorter bill, duller red, not yellow, legs, and a much larger black throat patch, while females are more easily distinguished by their shorter bill and redder legs. The short-billed honeycreeper is most often found in mixed species flocks. Usually it appears in pairs and feeds in the canopy of tall forests. The short-billed honeycreeper is found in Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Suriname, and Venezuela. Its natural habitat is subtropical or tropical moist lowland forests. And here is a female example of that species we just spoke of, the purple honeycreeper. And in this image on the far left, we see a male purple honeycreeper, recognizable because of the yellow legs and longer bill. All of the other individuals are short-billed honeycreepers. The masked titira is a medium-sized passerine bird. It is found in Mexico, every Central American country, and every northern and central mainland South American country except the Guianas. The masked titira is 7.9 to 9.4 inches or 20 to 24 centimeters long. This species is sexually dimorphic. Adult males of the nominate subspecies have bare rosy red skin from their bill to and around their eye, as can be seen here. Adult females have the same bare red skin as males, but without any black on the head. The gilded barbet is a brightly colored bird of western Amazonian forests found in Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, and Brazil. The species has a golden head with a broad black eye mask, blunt blackish bill, blackish upper parts with golden tips, and pale yellow underparts with black flank spotting or streaking. Though it can be found in a number of forest types, the species is most commonly found in Barcea and terra firme forests where it feeds on fruit and arthropods in the canopy. Sometimes regarded as being conspecific with the Lita woodpecker, Piculus liti, which is only found west of the Andes and has a black rather than a white throat, the white-throated woodpecker was long considered to be restricted to Upper Amazonia, but is now known to occur much further east, albeit probably discontinuously across Amazonian Brazil. The species biology is very little known, although most aspects of its behavior appear similar to those of other Piculus species, including its apparently regular participation in mixed species flocks, either singly or in pairs. The white-throated woodpecker seems to be generally uncommon or even rare across much of its range, although it might easily go overlooked, being passed off as another commoner congeneric. The turquoise tanager is a brightly colored bird that lives in small flocks that dart through the tree canopies of South America's tropical forests. Little is known about the behavior and habits of the turquoise tanagers because they are so difficult to find in the wild. Attaining body lengths of 5.5 inches or 14 centimeters, turquoise tanagers are mainly frugivores or fruit eaters. They forage high in the tree canopy, where they perch to pick berries and fruits from slender branches and twigs. They are also known to eat small insects, which they occasionally find on the undersides of leaves. The banana quit is one of the great sugar lovers of the bird world. This hyperactive little bird drinks nectar by probing into flowers, piercing flower bases with its sharp, curved bill, or visiting hummingbird feeders. Bold individuals may even steal sugar from outdoor restaurant tables. Their plumage and song varies across the large range, but the unique bill, pinkish gape, bold face pattern, and yellowish underparts make them distinctive. The speckled chachalaca occurs across much of the western and southern Amazon basin. It has relatively long legs and a long neck, with a short, curved, powerful bill. Brown overall, with whitish spangles on the head and neck, which become scaling on the breast, this smallish crassid has red legs and small red gular pouch. The species is reasonably common throughout its range and travels in small vocal groups through secondary forest and forest edge, being fairly tolerant of disturbance. The speckled chachalaca's diet has not been extensively studied, but is known to include fruits and other plant material. The speckled chachalaca's breeding phenology is poorly known. Its nesting season appears to vary across its range, but in Peru encompasses at least November to March. The San Martin titi, also known as the Rio Mayo titi or Andean titi monkey, is endemic to the San Martin region of Peru, and it's considered Peru's most endangered primate. They make their homes in low secondary forests and are often seen in bamboo groves, viney thickets, fruit groups, and palm-dominated forests. They seem to have a slight preference for being near water, such as rivers and streams. Their exact altitude range is unknown, but the maximum is believed to be 3,280 to 4,600 feet, or 1,000 to 1,400 meters, with low population densities at high altitudes. They are often found in fragmented forests with unsustainably high numbers of individuals forced into increasingly small pieces of habitat as their home is deforested. As true omnivores, most of the San Martin titi's diet is composed of fruit and insects and is supplemented with seeds, flowers, leaves, and shoots. Their fruit diet is not especially varied, as only one or two species make up the majority of the fruit they eat in a given month, depending on what's available during that season. A particularly important fruit for the San Martin titis are those from the mistletoe family. Like all titi monkeys, San Martin titis are monogamous and often mate for life. Mated pairs are very closely attached, often literally. They engage in a behavior known as twinning, in which they rest together with their hands clasped and their tails intertwined. San Martin titis give birth most frequently in the months preceding the rainy season. Their gestation period is about 18 weeks long, after which they give birth to a single offspring. The male plays the dominant role in childcare, carrying the baby for about 80% of the time. Females only carry the baby when it is nursing. Curiously, babies experience more stress and higher heart rates when separated from their fathers than when separated from their mothers. In fact, after the first month of life, a baby San Martin titi will have very limited contact with its mother. The offspring reach sexual maturity at about 2 years of age and give birth to their first baby, on average, at about 4 years of age. The ladder-tailed nightjar is a widespread inhabitant of Amazonia. This nightjar is found along forested rivers, on beaches, and on the banks of oxbow lakes. This bird is highly camouflaged and has the colors of ground cover, as do most nightjar species. Many of the nightjar species, the ladder-tailed nightjar being no exception, also have the distraction display, which helps lead unwary predators farther distances from the nest, young, or eggs. As a species that hunts airborne insects at night, it has large eyes and a large wide gape to allow this feeding strategy. All of the different troupial populations were formerly regarded as representing a single species, but nowadays 3 different species are recognized, of which the orange-backed troupial is the most widespread. Compared to both of the other species of troupial, the adult orange-backed troupial differs chiefly in lacking a complete black hood and having a much more extensive orange-colored mantle. And now we encounter our first hummingbird species, the rufous-breasted hermit. This is a widely distributed hummingbird found in the humid forest understories of Central America and northern/central South America. Often referred to affectionately in the birding community as a hermit species, it should not be confused with the rufous-fronted laughing thrush. And here we see images of the rufous-breasted hermit taken during the day while it is in flight. This species is often seen in the understory, feeding on nectar of heliconia. Notably, unlike many hummingbird species, males frequently defend the area surrounding the nest. The ringed kingfisher is a large crested neotropical kingfisher that has expanded its range into the USA from Mexico within the past 40 years. Like all American kingfishers, the ring typically perches riverside or lakeside trees where it watches for its prey in clear water. Its large size and habit of perching high up in dead trees or other open perches makes it a conspicuous bird within its tropical range. Solitary except while breeding, both male and female kingfishers vigorously defend their territories along shorelines of lakes and rivers throughout the year. They do this with loud, low-pitched calls and sometimes aerial chasing. The American pygmy kingfisher is a tiny kingfisher that occurs sparsely throughout its range in tropical lowlands. They are found along quiet streams in forest interior, as well as flooded barcia and swampy edges of lakes. They perch low and generally stay concealed. Their flight is fast and buzzy. Overall, this species is unique in its minute size, but also note the buffy collar, rufous breast, and flanks with white belly and solid green back. Their most frequently heard vocalization consists of quiet ticking notes, though they also give a more song-like series of high, rapid notes. Like other kingfishers, their nest is a burrow in an exposed bank. The striated heron is found in both freshwater and saltwater marshes from eastern Panama south to northern Argentina. This small, often compact-looking heron is encountered foraging alone in dense vegetation along bodies of water. It employs a great variety of foraging techniques to capture prey items, such as fish, amphibians, insects, and crustaceans. It is very similar in appearance to, and also very closely related to, the green heron of North and Central America and the Caribbean. The nest is a platform of sticks, usually built in shrubs or trees, but sometimes in sheltered locations on the ground and often near water. The clutch is 2 to 5 eggs. The Amazon tree boa is a captivating snake species native to the lush tropical rainforests of South America. Known for their vibrant colors and agile movements, these snakes are a unique part of the Amazon's rich biodiversity. Very intriguingly, Amazon tree boas have excellent vision, allowing them to hunt during daylight hours. However, they also have large infrared receptors that enable them to detect heat, making them effective nighttime hunters as well. Northern Peru boasts an incredible diversity of tree frogs, spanning from the Amazon basin and the Andean cloud forest. The region is home to spectacular and locally endemic species. Here we see some very attractive examples that we were unable to identify. The kinkajou lives in tropical rainforests from southern Mexico through Brazil. Its small hand-like feet have fingers that are a bit webbed and end in sharp little claws. Dense, woolly fur acts as a raincoat to help keep the kinkajou dry. The kinkajou's tail is longer than its head and body and is thickly furred and slightly prehensile. The scientific name for the kinkajou is Potus flavus. This roughly translates to golden drinker, as the kinkajou has a golden brown coat and is fond of nectar. The common name kinkajou comes from a word that means honey bear, as kinkajous raid beehives for the golden liquid. As you might have guessed, the kinkajou has quite a sweet tooth. Looking a bit like a monkey, kinkajous are often mistakenly called primates. They do have many traits and features like those of primates, but kinkajous are carnivores in the family Procyon, which includes raccoons, coatis, ringtails, and olingos. Very interestingly, kinkajous are able to turn their feet in the opposite direction and run backwards just as quickly as they run forward. This also makes it easy for them to climb up and down trees head first. The kinkajou tail is for balance, to hold onto branches while reaching for food, and even to snuggle while sleeping. Kinkajous can hang by the tip of their strong tail, then turn their body in such a way that they can climb back up their own tail. The aquatic coral snake is unique among coral snakes in having the eyes and nostrils oriented dorsally. On its top side, this is an adaptation for aquatic living. The aquatic coral snake is an uncommon snake that inhabits pristine to heavily disturbed rainforests, which may be terra firma or seasonally flooded, but also ventures into clearings, rural gardens, and houses near the forest border. This species is semi-aquatic, which means individuals are usually, but not exclusively, found in or along slow-moving rivers, streams, swamps, ponds, and lagoons. The venom is mostly neurotoxic. In humans, it causes paresthesia, a burning or prickling sensation, blurred vision, muscle paralysis, difficulty in breathing, and even death by respiratory arrest. And here at night in the jungle, we see some leafcutter ants. At least 55 species of leafcutter ants have so far been described. Leafcutter ants are fungus-growing ants that share the behavior of cutting leaves, which they carry back to their nests to farm fungus. Next to humans, leafcutter ants form some of the largest and most complex animal societies on Earth. Leafcutter ants have very specific roles in taking care of the fungal garden and dumping wastes. Thus, waste management is a key role for each colony's longevity. Indeed, the necrotrophic parasitic fungus Escovopsis threatens the ants' food source and thus is a constant danger to these ants. And here, back at a rain shelter area of the lodge, we see the tropical screech owl. We'll talk more about this species later in part 2. The bluish-fronted jacamar is iridescent green with a black bill and rufous tail and belly. These birds show a variable amount of bluish cast on the forehead. They perch on horizontal branches in forest edge habitats where they wait for passing insects they catch on the wing. This species attains a body length of about 8.5 inches or 21.5 centimeters. Note that though they may superficially resemble hummingbirds, all species of jacamars are not closely related to hummingbirds. The saddleback tamarin, also known as the Andean saddleback tamarin and previously referred to as the brown-mantled tamarin, is a species of Latin American monkey whose geographic distribution includes the South American countries of Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. These small primates make their homes east of the Andes Mountains, a nod to the primate's alias. throughout the Amazon River basin, dwelling in lowland and lower montane rainforests, seasonally flooded forests, remnant forests, and secondary forests. Riverbank primary forests with thick understory provide alternative habitat. These monkeys reside at widely ranging altitudes from 328 to 3,937 feet, or 100 to 1,200 meters above sea level, but they are more commonly found in the middle and lower levels. About the size of a squirrel, the saddleback tamarin has a head-to-body length of 8.1 to 9.1 inches, or 21 to 23 centimeters. Its tail adds another 17 inches, or 43 centimeters. Body weight is from 12.3 ounces to barely over 1 pound, or 350 to 456.5 grams. Sexual dimorphism is not pronounced in this species. Indeed, females and males look very much alike. These diminutive omnivores eat a smorgasbord of foods, including fruits, flowers, nectars, eggs, snails, lizards, frogs, spiders, and insects. When readily available, they enjoy plant exudates, such as gums, saps, and latex, as well, and will exploit an opportunity to dine on this sticky substance. Saddleback tamarins are most active during daylight hours and spend most of their time in trees. Like most tamarin species, saddleback tamarins usually abide by a polyandrous society. The most dominant female of a troop mates with several male members. Subdominant females are reproductively suppressed, thereby ensuring the dominant female's reproductive success. Squirrel monkeys are one of the smallest members of the primate group, measuring in at about 12.5 inches in body length, that is, about 32 centimeters, and having a tail about 16 inches, or about 40 centimeters in length. Their tail, unlike many monkey species, is not prehensile. These tiny monkeys thus rely on their powerful and precise hands to travel through the trees, using their long tail to help them maintain balance. Squirrel monkeys are omnivores, meaning they feast on both plant and animal food items. These include flowers, fruits, leaves, insects, small vertebrates, and even eggs. In the wild, common squirrel monkeys band together in rather large group sizes, from 25 to 500, and only break down into smaller groups while hunting. The green whipsnake is a diurnal and semi-arboreal snake most active during sunny weather. This species inhabits evergreen lowland and foothill forests as well as pastures, crops, and even buildings. When cornered, whipsnakes tend to inflate the neck, open the mouth aggressively, and strike. However, this snake has no venom glands and is harmless to humans. Their diet is comprised mainly of frogs, but also includes salamanders, lizards, and birds. The amethyst woodstar is a hummingbird species found in a great variety of habitats throughout its circum-Amazonian distribution. The amethyst woodstar has been recorded taking the nectar of a great number of plant species, and at least occasionally taking insects while in flight. A member of the subfamily Trochilinae, the bee hummingbirds, the amethyst woodstar reaches a total body length of 2.4 to 3.3 inches, or 6 to 8.4 centimeters. Ranging across much of northern South America, including western Brazil and south into Bolivia, The blue-tailed emerald is found in fairly open and semi-dry habitats in the tropical and subtropical zones, up to 2,200 meters, or about 7,000 feet. Males are almost entirely emerald green, with white thighs and blue hues, sometimes visible in the face and breast. It often perches at low levels and forages with quick and direct flights to flowering trees or shrubs. The long-billed starthroat is a wide-ranging hummingbird having remarkably long, straight bills. Males have sparkling light blue crowns and purplish-red throats bordered by white streaks. Long-billed starthroats inhabit second-growth woodlands, forest edges, and partially open areas with trees and hedges. They are usually fairly quiet and forage individually. These starthroats frequently perch out in the open, especially when hawking for insects. They also gather nectar from flowers, particularly those of large trees. Sapphire-spangled emeralds frequent rainforest edges, humid or gallery forests, second growth, clearings, orchards, and gardens. Males defend flower territories and are rather diverse in their flower preferences. And here we end part 1 of this 3-part series by observing some butterflies, without commentary. These were seen in the Alto Mile wetlands.